Facebook OET Listening Part B class. I'm excited to be teaching you all today. I just want to get that right. Okay, perfect. So very, very soon I'm going to be joined by Fiona, who is one of our UK native OET teachers and will be familiar to most of you who have been coming to our regular Facebook Live classes that we do each week. So she'll be coming along and joining me in the class in around about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to see who we've got in today's Facebook Live session and let me know who we have, who's a doctor, who's a nurse. And I'm just going to bring up now who we have in attendance today. Let's see who we've got. And let's see who we've got today. We've got Christina, who's been to our classes before. Good to see you, Christina. Rita, Nithya, fantastic. We've got Liu, we've got Mai, we've got Umer, we've got Margie, Usama, many people. So great to see you all. Please keep your messages coming. Let me know if you're a doctor or a nurse, and we'd love to help you to pass your OET Listening Part B and, of course, your OET overall with 4 Bs, whether you're a doctor or a nurse or another medical professional. And we've got Rincy, who's one of our VIP students. Great to see you, Rincy. And for a lot of our OET VIP students who are in our program right now, you can actually join this class live. So just go along to our Facebook group for OET VIP, and then you'll see the Zoom link inside there if you want to join. So great to have so many people in the session today. In around about just over 5 minutes, I'll have Fiona joining me. I'm very excited because this week we officially launched our OET 2.0 course. So all of our video courses are updated for OET 2.0. So if you want to get more information about that and how to sign up, then go to swooshenglish.com and you can choose which courses you're looking for, whether you're a nurse or whether you're a doctor or even whether you're another medical professional, because as you know, reading and listening is for all medical professionals, whether you're a dietitian, a pharmacist, nurse, doctor, etc. So go along to swooshenglish.com and we'd love to help you pass. But on to today's session today. We've got people who, let's see, we've got Ivy, who's a nurse, Christina, who's a nurse, Tiapo is a nurse, Umer's a doctor, Mai is a doctor. Okay, we've got Eunice is a nurse who's watching from Kenya. So it's a truly global audience today. We've got African nurses as well, like Eunice from Kenya. So great to see all of you. Please let me know what are the difficulties you're facing with listening Part B. We'll be going deep into this section today, telling you how to approach each part, each question. Remember, you get 6 questions that you have to complete, and these are generally 3 multiple choice answers that you need to choose from after listening to an extract. So it's a meeting between a healthcare professional and a patient. So you need to listen very carefully and then choose which is the answer that you hear based on the question that you are provided. And Dr. Mohammed said, I'm not good in listening and I didn't pass in the July examination. What grade did you get, Mohammed? I'm sorry to hear about that. Okay, in terms of our advice, we'll be giving you lots of advice today, but one piece of general advice I can give you, Mohammed, is to constantly be listening to other kinds of audio recordings, whether it's YouTube recordings where you don't look at the video, you're just listening to it, or you can close your eyes and listen to the recording. That's something that you can do. It can be health related or non-healthcare related. Remember, you've got different accents now for 2.0, so you need to really train your ear for Australian, American, Canadian, British, Irish, could be any of those, like New Zealand, could be any of those accents. So really train your ear up to listen to and familiarize yourself with different kinds of accents that you could come across. Very, very important that you do that, and don't just rely on materials from 2.0, okay, because there's not a huge amount right now. If you go to the OET website, there you can find some sample examinations on there for 2.0. But in most cases, I would tell you to don't rely on those too much. Okay, of course, it's important to practice the format of the exam. If you could practice previous listening examinations for OET 1.0, but remember, of course, that the format has changed. But if you're looking for listening resources, then you could use YouTube, you could use podcasts, medical podcasts as well, are really good. YouTube documentaries and videos, and just listen to them, don't watch them, okay? Because of course it's easier to understand them when you can see the mouth movements, but try to just close your eyes and listen to them. That's the big advice that I would give you. And it's just constant, it's consistently doing it day in, day out, not just doing it once a week or twice a week, but doing it every day, training your ear, even on your lunch hour when you're on a shift at the hospital, then constantly listening to podcasts and different audio recordings, different accents that you can listen to. Hopefully that was helpful advice. Okay, Vinod was asking about writing, failing in writing, and that's not something that we'll be covering today, but we've got lots of advice on our website, swooshenglish.com, lots of YouTube and Facebook videos. We've got Kumar who's watching, who's from the fantastic OET World Facebook group. So make sure, if you're not part of their Facebook group, it's completely free. Go to their Facebook group. I've put a link in the description of this video. Kumar and his team will take care of you. And if you're a nurse in India, then they've got some really good face-to-face classes for you as well. If you want to go to their centers, I think they've got a center in Kerala. So make sure you go ahead and check them out. So on to today's class. We're going to have Fiona, who's going to come in to the session, and she'll be with us in around about 2 minutes. We've got some of our VIP students in the session today, Animal and Mudassir. Mudassir, you gave a very good performance with your OET speaking mock exam that you did with me yesterday. So well done on that. You just need to keep constantly improving your speaking, getting the corrections that we're giving you. We're in our VIP program. We've got Sabi as well, who's a nurse from Africa, who's in our VIP session right now. So great to see you as well, Sabi. And Christina says, I found Part C very hard. Part C, I'm not sure. Oh, I think you mean for listening Part C. Well, we've covered that Facebook Live session before, Christina. So if you go back to some of our, if you try and find the listening Part C video, we did a full hour and a half on it. So go on to YouTube, or you can look at our previous Facebook Live videos. Same with PK. Yes, go and look at our previous Facebook Live sessions that we did for listening Part C. Okay, and Tiapo says the recordings seem too fast. They're not too fast, unfortunately, Tiapo. They're at natural speed. If you think that they're too fast, it probably means that you're not, that you need to do more listening to audio recordings, like I said before, to podcast recordings, to natural conversations that you need to be listening to for different accents. The one piece of advice, if you're not getting a lot of speaking and listening practice, is go on, type on Google and go to language exchange study partners. You can get completely free speaking practice with someone you find online. So say, for example, that you speak Arabic, you're a doctor who speaks Arabic, and someone in the UK or America also wants to learn Arabic, and you want to learn English, then they can help you for half of the session together on English. They can help you with your English, and then the other half of the session, you can help them with your Arabic. So you can do a language exchange. It's completely free. I would highly recommend you to do that if that's something that you need help with. Perhaps you can also turn their video off on Skype, so you can just listen to them if you want to help with your listening skills. Of course, if you want to do speaking as well, then it's good to watch them and see their mouth movements. So perhaps you can do both of them. Fantastic. So I am going to bring in Fiona now. Let me know who is ready for the class today, who has their pens with them. Make sure you have your pen with you. Make sure you have a notebook with you as well. So please put them in the, please have them ready for today's session, because the more you write down, the more notes you take, and also the more you take part in today's class by answering the questions, the exercises that we give you, the more likely you are to give a very good performance in your OET exam and get a grade B in listening. That's the most important thing. Okay, TED Talk, said Nastasia. Absolutely good piece of advice. So go on Google and click TED Talks. I would highly recommend TED. So thanks for that, Nastasia. So who is ready? Please type in the message box, say ready in the message box if you are prepared and ready for today's Facebook Live OET Listening Part B session. Please let me know in the comments section below. Okay, so I am going to bring in Fiona now to the session. So let me know if you can see and hear Fiona. Okay, so Christina is ready. And we've got lots of people who are saying they're ready. Eunice is ready. Fantastic. So you'll see, if you can see Fiona on screen now, you will see that she has a sweater over herself, and that shows that the weather is not as hot as it was before. Is that right, Fiona?
Yes, I have two sweaters actually. So, but I do feel the cold. Yeah, but it's not great out there. No, it has to be said.
Yeah, well, I'm in London and Fiona is in the New Forest, but maybe the New Forest is a bit colder compared to London right now, but it's okay in London, just not as hot as it was. So Fiona, for anyone who hasn't come across your teaching before, and let me know as well in the chat box if you've been taught by Fiona before and you've been to our sessions, whether you're one of our VIP current students on our paid programs or you're a regular visitor to our Facebook Live sessions. Please let us know in the chat box, okay? And yeah, let us know. So, but Fiona, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you briefly tell us how you can help the students today and what your experience is?
So I've got about 20 years experience teaching English, and a lot of that has been teaching exam preparation classes, including particularly IELTS. I'm also an ex-IELTS examiner, and I do the OET classes for Swoosh, for reading and listening, and for speaking and writing. So yes, quite a lot of experience, and looking forward to helping you guys today with Listening Part B, giving you some help and strategies to do a better job. Yeah.
Fantastic, Fiona. Thank you very much for that. So I've very, very briefly told the students about what's involved with Listening Part B, but not really touched on it in a lot of detail. However, they are all ready to take part in the exercises that we have for them today. So now if everyone's ready, and I think everyone is, Declar's ready, Manju's ready, Umair's ready, Tiapo, Hina, Candy, Eva, Bahir, and Maldi. We've got a big audience today, so that's fantastic. So I think everyone's ready. Before I do that, we are giving an OET Welcome Pack which is completely free. It's got lots of video lessons for reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We've got lots of our OET 2.0 videos in there as well. All you need to do to access that is go to the video that you can see right now. Underneath, you can see it says share. So all you need to do is share that to your Facebook page. That's step one. Then step two is you write underneath this video on facebook.com/swoosh English. I have shared the OET live class video. So I have shared the OET live class video, and then you will get access to our OET free welcome pack that's complimentary to you. So that is the incentive for you. Make sure you share and make sure you write underneath, I have shared the OET live class video. Fantastic. So Fiona, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Alex. I'm just going to share my screen right now. Here we go. Right, so listening part B, everybody. So I think Alex has explained it briefly, but I'll give you a little bit more detail. Part B, you'll hear 6 different extracts, and in each extract you'll hear people talking in a different healthcare situation. So I'm just reading from here, healthcare setting. You have 6 questions and you choose the correct answer, A, B, or C in each case, which fits best according to what you hear. Now, this is quite important, which fits best. Okay, so there will be some distractor answers. That means they're trying to weed out the students who just hear something and think, oh, that must be the answer because it's something like what's in the question, and that is not always the case. So you have to be careful of those distractors. Don't write the first answer that you hear. You'll have time to read each question before you listen and complete your answers as you listen. Obviously, don't try and do it afterwards because you won't have time. Right, I'm just going to get the audio sorted. Okay, well, let's actually, before I do the audio, before we start, let's have a look at the first question, question number 25. I'm assuming that everyone can see it, unless I hear differently. Okay, I'll just assume everyone can see it. Oh, I have a chat message here. Great, says Alex. Okay. Okay, good. Right, so you will see here that it says you hear an optometrist talking to a patient who's trying contact lenses for the first time. Okay, now this gives you really important information about what you are going to hear. Okay, so you can start thinking about, what sorts of things do optometrists talk to patients about in terms of contact lenses. Then you can look down at the question, what is the patient concerned about? His blurred vision, soreness in his eyes, and how to remove the lenses. So what you should be doing is thinking about keywords and trying to predict synonyms that might come up. You're going to be listening for synonyms because obviously the information that comes on the recording is not going to be exactly the same as that in the question. Sometimes it will be, but generally not, because they want to check your comprehension skills, your ability to listen for synonyms and for important information. So here, for example, let's just start with this question. What is the patient concerned about? So actually, this gives you a clue as to what you need to listen for. You don't need to listen for when the optometrist is speaking so much. I mean, you have to listen to the whole conversation, but the answer will come in what the patient says, okay? So that's quite key. And then let's think of some synonyms for these words and phrases before we actually start to listen. So his blurred vision, how could we, what synonym could we have for that? So perhaps you guys could write in the chat box or in the Facebook comments, A, B, and C, synonyms that you think will come for those words and phrases, okay? How will they say them in the recording? Okay, so I'm just going to wait for those to come through and have my cup of tea. Let's see if we've got anything coming. I'll give you a bit of time to do that.
Okay, Fiona, we've got some comments coming through on Facebook Live as well. So if you see if there's any VIP students.
I can. I'm just waiting for a few more to come through. Otherwise, people will hear each other's. And yeah. I can't see any coming through on the Facebook. I can on the Zoom chat.
Yeah, don't worry. I can see Facebook Live.
Okay.
Nastasia, Sarita, Eunice, they've all given answers.
So perhaps people could look at B as well and C.
Okay, from Nastasia, we've got double vision, pain in the eyes. Sarita doesn't doesn't have a clear vision, you can't say not clear vision, doesn't have clear vision. Uni, soreness, tenderness. Hina, haziness, difficulty to see anything. Sabi, loss of sight. Candy says see. Hina, redness, soreness. Mai, soreness, painful eyes. Sabi, irritability in the eye.
Okay, good. And in the Zoom chat, we've got unfocused vision and irritation in the eyes from Mudasir. And Animal Lukose has visual disturbances. That's quite good. Yeah, okay. And how to remove the lenses. Remove might be, we didn't hear any of that from anyone, but remove might be take out the lenses. Probably they wouldn't paraphrase. Actually, you wouldn't say detach lenses. Detach means if something is already attached or stuck together, then you detach it from something. But your lenses are not actually totally attached to the eyes, hopefully. So good idea, Mudasir, but we'd probably say take out. Lenses probably wouldn't be paraphrased. You'd probably hear lenses or contact lenses because that expression contains a lot of meaning. Okay, so we are now ready to listen and hear the correct answer, hopefully. Don't forget, don't immediately attach to the first thing that you hear, okay? Just wait. Just going to get it to the right place. Okay.
Now look at question 25. You hear an optometrist talking to a patient who's trying contact lenses for the first time. Now read the question.
Now, you've had the lenses in for a few minutes. How are they feeling?
Not bad. I thought I'd feel them actually touching my eyes, that they'd be sore or prickly, but I can't feel much at all. My eyes do feel a bit watery though.
It's okay. You've just used too much solution. Now, in a few minutes, I'll get you to try taking them out and inserting them again by yourself.
I had no trouble taking them out earlier, but I'm not confident about putting them in. I worry I'll press too hard.
That's unlikely to happen.
Things look rather distorted though. I mean, I can't make out the letters on that chart.
Any of them?
Those lower down.
Let's give things another minute to settle down.
Okay, so hopefully you got the correct answer. Maybe you could send those through now into the comments or the Zoom chat box. Okay, just 30 seconds to do that. Hopefully you just have to press A, B, or C on your keyboard, okay? And during the actual test, you obviously don't get much time to actually write the answer down because you have to then think about the next question. So I've got one answer that's come through on the Zoom. Anyone else? For some reason, I can't see. I'm going to see if I can see the...
Sorry, Fiona, we only have two answers so far. Now they're coming through. Mohammed said B, Ludan said A, Umer said B, Lijo said C. Wow, a real wide range of answers there.
Okay, that's interesting, actually. So that there are a couple of distractors, and they did mention all of those things. So we'll listen again. Yeah, We'll listen again and see if we can find the right answer. Well, I'm going to tell you the right answer. So if you wrote A, you were correct. Okay, so Animal said A, and well done to Animal. I don't know who else said A, maybe some of the people in Facebook. If you did, fantastic, well done. If you didn't, don't worry. We're going to listen again and find out why it's A and not B and C. So first of all, I'm going to replay that part of the recording. I'm going to get you to listen and think about why is it A and why is it not B and C. And then we'll look at the audio script. So we're really going to make sure that you understand why it's A. Just one second.
For the first time. Now read the question.
Now, you've had the lenses in for a few minutes. How are they feeling?
Not bad. I thought I'd feel them actually touching my eyes, that they'd be sore or prickly, but I can't feel much at all.
So he says, I thought I'd feel them actually touching my eyes, that they'd be sore or prickly, but I actually can't feel much at all. Okay? So he thought his eyes would be sore. He thought they would make his eyes sore, but he can't feel very much. So it's not B. Hopefully you get that now. I'll just go back a little bit.
Not bad. I thought I'd feel them actually touching my eyes, that they'd be sore or prickly, but I can't feel much at all. My eyes do feel a bit watery though.
It's okay. You've just used too much solution. Now, in a few minutes, I'll get you to try taking them out and inserting them again by yourself.
I had no trouble taking them out earlier, but I'm not confident about putting them in.
So he said, I had no trouble taking them out earlier, but I'm not confident about putting them in. So he's not worried about taking them out. That was fine. It's putting them in that he's a little bit worried about. Okay, so that was the other distractor.
Worry I'll press too hard.
That's unlikely to happen.
Things look rather distorted though. I mean, I can't make out the letters on that chart.
Things look rather distorted though. I can't make out the letters on that chart. So make out means sort of understand by looking. I can't make out the letters on that chart. Blurred, distorted, right? So hopefully you heard now the correct answer. He's most concerned about his blurred vision. Yeah, his eyes are not sore and he's worried about how to put the lenses in rather than how to take them out. So this is a really good example of distractors, and they do this because they want to find the people who really truly understand what they're listening to. Okay.
That's great, Fiona. I think it's really important that students, I mean, it just kind of typifies the importance of synonyms, how important it is when we say, for example, make out, you know, those, and, you know, and we're talking about, like you said, distorted and, you know, for blurred, etc. So it really kind of typifies how important it is that you understand it's a language examination, and it's important for you to see the subtle differences in language when you're listening to these transcripts and then deciding upon the answer. Remember, you've only got 3 answers to choose from, so you've got a 1 in 3 chance. Even if, for example, this recording goes over your head and you just don't have a clue on what the answer is. A lot of multiple choice questions, in other exams, etc., have got usually the typical is 4 answers. So you've got a 1 in 4 chance, but with these B and C, part B and part C, you've got a 1 in 3 chance. So you've got a really good opportunity to, if you have no clue whatsoever, to choose one of them. But yeah, I think it's really helpful for the students as well, Fiona, the way that you told them why it wasn't B and why it wasn't C, and giving them the examination. So yeah, giving them the explanation.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So hopefully people now understand why it was A. And a good collocation there was Alex mentioned make out, and he said, I can't make out the letters on the chart. So that's a good synonym for his blurred vision. Okay. So let's have a look at the next question. Now I'm just going to show you the question before we look at the, just one second, before we look at the options, the multiple choice options. So it says, you hear a nurse asking a colleague for help with a patient. Why does the nurse need help? Hopefully everyone can see exactly what I can see and you can't see the other options A, B, and C. I'm kind of hoping that's the case. So
correct.
I just want, yeah, thanks. Okay, so I just want to show you how important the question is, that you're setting the scene, right? So it's a nurse asking a colleague for help with a patient. So you've got 3 people, 2 people talking. Why does the nurse need help? Okay, so you've got to identify who is the nurse, and you're going to get the information from the nurse and not the colleague that he or she is asking. Okay, so really important to understand that part first. And then we have the options: A, the patient's condition has deteriorated; B, the patient is worried about a procedure; and C, the patient is reporting increased pain levels. Okay, so I would like you right now to do exactly what we did just now. Think about synonyms that might be in the recording and send them to us in the comments. So just write A and then the synonym or the paraphrased sentence, and the same with B and C. Sentence, and the same with B and C. Ooh. How are we doing? No answers coming through yet. Except Declar is saying, thanks for the explanation. I never thought about the paraphrase word, so that's good that we're helping you. My Ali says, deteriorated is worsen or become worse, get worse. Nastasia says, patient is getting worse, is concerned about. Sabi Thapelo says, has gotten worse. My Ali says, worries and anxious. Okay, so that's B, I guess. So Mariah says audio question mark. I'm not sure what your question is there, Mariah. Can you not hear?
I think some people, Fiona, it's difficult because everyone else can hear, so I'm guessing it must be an issue with your device, Maria.
Exactly.
Some people are hearing it, and some people are not. So
Oh, okay.
So I thought it should be. I don't know. There's nothing that we can do on our side, unfortunately.
No voice. Somebody's saying no voice, Dr. Mohammed. The audio is working perfectly, someone else says. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, some no, I guess. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Quite a few people saying no audio. Okay, so Sabi says, be worried about surgery. Yes, a procedure could be surgery. Severe pain, increased pain levels, Sumitha says. Poor progress with health. Possibly, might be a bit far out. Patient condition has worsened. Great, okay. And Tiepo has already guessed the answer, having not actually heard the recording yet. So, well, that must be magic. Okay, so we've got some great ideas coming through here. Oh, and we've got some in the chat box. Deteriorated might be collapsed. Not quite the same thing, but, deteriorated means become worse or got worse. Collapse means really a patient collapses, like they fall over, or lungs can collapse. They sort of fall in on each other. So maybe not collapsed exactly. But anyway, the actual act of doing this, even if you don't get the exact words, is really preparing your brain to hear the right answers. So that's all a great thing. So now we are ready, I think, to listen to the answers. To the audio and get the correct answer, hopefully. Okay. Don't forget, there will be distractors. Okay.
Any of them?
Those lower down.
Let's give things another minute to settle down.
Okay, it's coming.
Question 26. You hear a nurse asking a colleague for help with a patient. Now read the question.
Kathy, could you help me with the patient in bed 103? The woman who had surgery 2 days ago.
Oh, yes, she's due for discharge today, isn't she? Does her pain relief need topping up again? I thought she wasn't very comfortable this morning.
Oh, she's on a reasonably low dose, but she's coping. She needs her chest drains removing, though, and she's got herself into a bit of a state.
Ah, well, that's a two-person job anyway, so I'll come with you. Has the consultant seen her? I know there was some concern yesterday about her condition and the level of the fluids draining into the bags.
He's cleared her for removal of them today, but I think some reassurance might be needed first.
Right. I might just check her analgesia and give her more before we go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. So can you put your answers in the comments, please?
Fiona, I'd love to hear as well from our students where they think the accent is from as well. Can they hear the similarities? So please let me know in the chat box. And I think it's as I mentioned before, Fiona started teaching today. It's important that you train yourself with different kinds of accents: American, British, Irish, Australian, New Zealand, etc., etc. Really important now with 2.0.
Yes. So I'd be interested to see if they get that accent, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have a look. Some of the answers coming through are, I'm not sure. Okay, here we are. So Nithya says C, Nastasia says B, Raji says B, Mr. Roy says C, Eunice says C, Alex says B, Resmi says B, Christina C, Mai B, Peak B, Manju B, oh my goodness, so many, Bahir and Jesslyn B, all sorts of things, Deep T B. Okay, lots of B's coming through, a few C's, lots of B's. So the majority have it. The correct answer is B. So well done to those of you who said B. Some of you said, I think you said C, right? So I think we'll go quickly back and listen again, and we'll find out why it's not A and why it's not C. Okay, sorry, I'll just go to the right place.
Kathy, could you help me with the patient in bed 103? The woman who had surgery 2 days ago.
Oh, yes, she's due for discharge today, isn't she? Does her pain relief need topping up again? I thought she wasn't very comfortable this morning.
Oh, she's on a reasonably low dose, but she's coping.
So does her pain relief need topping up? No, she's on a reasonably low dose, but she's coping. Okay, so we know it's not A, and I don't think anyone said it's A anyway. So that was a little distractor. Okay.
Needs her chest drains removing, though, and she's got herself into a bit of a state.
Ah, well, that's a two.
Sorry.
She's on a reasonably low dose, but she's coping. She needs her chest drains removing, though, and she's got herself into a bit of a state.
So the answer was there. She needs her chest drains removing, though, and she's got herself into a bit of a state. So if you get yourself into a bit of a state, it means you're worried about something. That's quite colloquial. And she needs her chest drains removing. That is the procedure that she's worried about. So the correct answer is B. Let's see why it's not C.
Well, that's a two-person job anyway, so I'll come with you. Has the consultant seen her? I know there was some concern yesterday about her condition and the level of the fluids draining into the bags.
He's cleared her for removal of them today, but I think some reassurance might be needed first.
Right.
So the consultant, they were worried. There was concern yesterday about her condition. But if you remember back to the beginning, it says that she's coping and she's on a relatively low dose. So that's why it's not C either. So again, a small distractor.
Fiona, two things I want to point out is that you could do when you're listening to each of these, for each of these 6 questions, these 6 extracts, is when you hear that it says, like Fiona said, that the patient is coping, then you can put a little cross next to A to say that that's not the actual correct answer. So then you're leaving yourself. It could be either B or it could be C. So I would. That's the first tip that I would give you. Okay, and the second one is to listen to the whole recording. Just because you hear maybe the words, I don't know, worried, procedure, or any keywords like that, okay, you must listen to the whole recording because the answer might be later on, not immediately just as you hear it. Okay, so listen to the whole recording, but have the information in mind that you listened to previously, and then you can have a good context of the overall meaning, and then you can decide your answer.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, a little cross and maybe a question mark if you're not sure about something next to one of the. Yeah, but really good point. And don't grab the first thing that you hear because you're panicking. Yeah, that's quite right. Okay, so shall we go ahead to the next question? Hopefully everyone understands why the correct answer is B. Most people got it, so that's great. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Again, you hear a senior nurse talking about a new initiative that's been introduced on her ward. What problem was it intended to solve? So we know from here that it is one person talking, right? We know what she's talking about, or he's talking about possibly, a new initiative. That has been introduced on her ward. Okay, so we've got the background, very important. And then we've got something specific about that. So probably actually the first part of this talk will be a paraphrase of this sentence here, okay? Because she's going to be telling them, starting the, introducing what she's talking about. So probably she'll be saying something similar to this in different words. And then what problem was it intended to solve probably will come after that. So the problem is a bit more specific, okay? So now let's have a look at the options, A, B, and C. A, patient's confusion over information given by the doctor. B, relatives not being able to discuss issues with the doctor. And C, patients not discussing all their concerns when meeting the doctor. These are actually all quite similar, if you notice, right? They're all confusion over information given, relatives not being able to discuss issues, patients not discussing all their concerns when meeting the doctor. So you've got to really focus on the key words here and really listen for the answer. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes very quickly. Can you, or maybe we don't have time to do this so much actually. Go on, just put your answers, put your paraphrases in the chat box, and hopefully we should have some time to do that. Okay, so same thing as before. What will the paraphrasing be? Oops. Okay, some good ideas coming through here. So Modesir says, not fully understanding the question. Oh, do you mean you don't understand what the question means? Possibly. Or maybe you're trying to paraphrase A. I'm not sure about that, Modesir. We had some more coming through. Okay, my Ali says, confused, not understanding concerns, queries. Yeah, issues would be queries. And Rita says, time is not enough to talk about all concerns. Yeah, or they don't have enough time to talk about all concerns. Christina says, too difficult for the patient to understand. Yes, would be A, patient's confusion over information given by the doctor. Very good. So, yeah, while you are preparing, you've got a few seconds literally to read and prepare. Just be thinking about, how they might paraphrase this. You don't have very long, but just use that time to think about how. And while you're paraphrasing yourself, you're understanding the question better, or the different options better, and you're processing. Your brain is doing something with it, so you really know what to listen for when the audio comes. And Peak says, relatives unable to tackle concerns with the doctor. Yes, so that would be B. Sabi, relatives not able to clarify their concerns. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we've got some really good paraphrasing synonyms coming through there. And I'm going to play the audio now, so hopefully everyone is ready. Don't forget, really listen to absolutely everything before you choose the correct answer.
I might just check her analgesia and give her more before we go ahead.
Okay.
It's coming. Here we go.
Question 27. You hear a senior nurse talking about a new initiative that has been introduced on her ward. Now read the question.
One of our key priorities is improving communications between staff, patients, and patients' families. We recently introduced a scheme called Dear Doctor, which involves giving each patient a card where they can make a note of any questions or concerns that they themselves have. They can also talk to their families during visiting time, or even on the phone, and see if there's anything else they'd like to add. The cards are then collected and given to the doctor before the ward round. We're really pleased with the response. Patients used to say that they only thought of the things they felt they needed to discuss when it was too late, so the cards give them a better chance to bring up whatever's on their minds. In fact, it's been so successful, they were going to roll it out on all wards in the hospital.
Okay, so, yep. So is it A, B, or C? Please write your answers in the comments. We've got a variety of answers coming through. Okay. I think the safety in numbers, most people are saying C. The correct answer is actually C. And some people said B. I don't think anyone said A, which is good because, the B and C, I can see why people put B, for example, because they are actually quite similar, these options. And this is where preparation comes in handy. So relatives not being able to discuss issues with the doctor, and patients not discussing all their concerns when meeting the doctor. And this correctly summarizes what was said. If you understood some of it, the initiative was that they were handing out cards with questions on them for the patients. So let's listen again and see why it's C and not B, and also not A. A is slightly different from everything else because it says patients' confusion over the information given by the doctor. And it doesn't really talk about that, but let's listen again. Where is it?
Now read the question.
One of our key priorities is improving communications between staff, patients, and patients' families. We recently introduced a scheme called Dear Doctor, which involves giving each patient a card where they can make a note of any questions or concerns that they themselves have. They can also talk to their families during visiting time or even on the phone and see if there's anything else they'd like to add. The cards are then collected and given to the doctor before the ward round. We're really pleased with the response. Patients used to say that they only thought of the things they felt they needed to discuss when it was too late. So
patients used to say that they only thought of the things that they needed to say when they thought it was too late. Okay, so patients not discussing all their concerns when meeting the doctor. You know, you always think, oh, why didn't I say that after the consultation? Or yes, so that is why it is C. It's not that they're not able to, they are, have been able to, but they just at the last minute think, oh no, why didn't I say that? And yeah, it doesn't really mention A. So hopefully you guys understand why it is C. And, you know, actually, I was thinking about this in a really good way because the answers, particularly these two answers, are so similar. When you read the options before you listen, try and, for example, here, try and underline the key words that are different. So not being able and not discussing all. Okay, so those two things differentiate the two options, yeah? Okay. So let's move on to 28. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, Alex.
Hi, Fiona. Before we go forward, we've had a lot of students who've been asking about OET 2.0. I just had a couple of private messages from some students, and we have, I'm very happy to tell you, we have completely updated our OET 2.0 course. Fiona's helped with that, so thank you very much, Fiona. But all of our OET 2.0 materials, video courses are now ready for you. So make sure you go to swooshenglish.com. There's a lot of people who are worried right now. They're constantly sending me emails and messages saying, I need OET 2.0 materials. I don't have them. Please, can you help me, Alex? Please, can you help me, Fiona? So they are ready for you. They are on our website. So go to swooshenglish.com, particularly if you have your exam coming up very, very soon and time is very much limited. And on the website, you can either choose our self-study video course where you can get access to our video lessons for reading 2.0, listening 2.0, as well as writing and speaking. So you watch the video lesson and then you'll do an exercise after, similar to what we're doing today. And also, if you want to have our live classes, and for example, you've come to this class today and it's been really helpful to you, please let me know in the chat box if Fiona and myself have been helping you. But if you would like to have those live classes every single week and be part of a small group where you can ask questions live, not just on Facebook, but be part of that, then make sure you, again, join us for the live class package. All of our materials are updated for 2.0, and we've been teaching, how long have we been teaching reading and listening 2.0 now, Fiona? About 6-7 weeks?
This is week 6, I believe. Yes.
Week 6. So if you join that program, you'll get access to those 2.0 live classes. And also the great thing is you can access the lesson recordings of those previous 2.0 classes that we did over the last 5-6 weeks. So you'll be able to access them as well. So I'd love to see you in the VIP program, just like we've got all of our VIP students like Animal, Lillian, and Mudassir as well. So any questions, just let me know. Go to alex@swooshenglish.com by email or go to swooshenglish.com. So I'll put a link in the chat box for you. And now, Fiona, we are ready to move on to number 28.
Yep. Okay, great. So this one says you hear 2 radiologists talking about the type of scan to be given to a patient. So keywords, radiologist, type of scan, and they agree to use the method which will, okay, so they're talking about a type of scan that they should give to a patient. So there's probably a couple of different types that they're talking about. And what do they agree on? They agree to choose the method which will do something. And so this actually tells us that probably you'll hear the answer at the end of the recording, right? Because they're having a discussion, and then they usually, at the end of a discussion, you come to the agreement, right? So that will probably come at the end, the correct answer. So here are the options. So which will allow them to see the whole of the appendix, probably give the most accurate results, or have the fewest risks for the patient. Okay, so I don't think we really have time to, if we want to listen to all of them, we don't have time to paraphrase. I'm just going to think about the paraphrasing in your head as he gives you the time on the recording. Okay, so you'll get 5 seconds. Do it live, okay?
The cards give them a better chance to bring up whatever's on their minds. Oh. In fact, it's been so successful, they were going to roll it out on all wards in the hospital.
Okay, coming up.
Question 28. You hear 2 radiologists talking about the type of scan to be given to a patient. Now read the question.
I've just had a phone call from emergency. They have an 11-year-old boy with right lower quadrant abdominal pain. They're concerned about appendicitis, and they'd like to order an abdominal CT for him.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I was thinking maybe we should recommend an abdominal ultrasound, because then we can spare him the radiation.
Is there any concern in this case around using ultrasound instead of CT? Accuracy, for example.
The sensitivity is slightly less than the CT, but the specificity is almost the same, so I think we can rely on the results.
Okay. It means we can avoid the child being subject to contrast exposure as well. But what would we do if the ultrasound doesn't answer the question?
If we can't visualize the complete appendix, then we can recommend an abdominal CT.
Okay, we have a plan. Call them back and let them know.
Okay. I just think it's really funny how he says that. We have a plan, call them back and let them know. Okay, sorry, I found it quite funny. Anyway, A, B, or C, put your answers in the chat box, please.
I think this will have to be the last one, Fiona. We are
okay. Oh, and I think it's a good one. It's a good one to have for the last one because.
Yeah.
Sorry. Was I interrupting you?
Yeah. No. Carry on. Yeah.
I think it's a good one because everyone is saying C, and the correct answer is in fact C. So yeah. So do we have time for me to quickly play that to show them why?
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny, actually, so Fiona and I were worried that because there were only 6 questions for this OET Listening Part B that we'd be able to cover a full lesson, but actually the opposite has been the case.